We like to think of ourselves as independent, as self-made, that we make our own decisions. And it's nice to think that way until one day you catch yourself like saying something your dad always used to say, and you're like, oh no, it's happening. I mean, we are influenced very much by the people around us. It's probably why I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I grew up in Missouri. My dad took me to a Chiefs game when I was like 8 years old, and we sat up in the stands, and it was like 12 degrees with the wind blowing. And I mean, you make that kind of sacrifice, you are a fan for life. But the people around us, from our family to our inner circle, do influence us for better or worse. If you spend enough time with someone who has a strong accent, chances are you're going to begin speaking with a little bit of an accent. You're not trying to, it just happens. People rub off on us. Their language rubs off on us. Their loves rub off on us. Their customs, routines, and even their values rub off on us. It makes me think of the old saying, which sounds a little bit dramatic, but there's truth in it. Show me your friends, and I will show you your future. Show me your friends, and I will show you your future. Because who you hang out with, that is the direction you're headed in life. That's why Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20 says, and there's an amazing phrase here, whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. Read that with me if you would. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. Notice what it does not say. It does not say whoever reads biographies about the wise becomes wise. No, it says whoever walks with the wise. So wisdom is not merely information you collect, information that you download into your life. Wisdom is a life that you learn in relationship with others, in connection with the people around you. The people that are closest to me, I am going to become more and more like them. We love stories, though, especially in America, about those who pulled themselves up by the bootstraps, those who charted their own course in life, those who made it entirely on their own. By the way, those are made-up stories. That's a myth, because no one is self-made. Nobody becomes wise alone. Every one of us has been shaped by the family that we grew up in, the friends around us, old college friends, by our neighbors, by companionship. They correct us, they shape us, and it may be a parent or a grandparent. It may be a coach. It may be a mentor. It may be a counselor. It may be a small group leader from the group that you were a part of when you were in high school or college. And the most influential people around us are usually not the loudest people. They are the ones who rather stuck with us. They are the ones who stuck with us through thick and thin. And they influence us. That famous verse, as one man sharpens another, as iron sharpens iron, or as the New Living puts it, as iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. So you are shaped and sharpened by your friends, by your relationships. Coffee shop conversations, shared meals, jokes that you laugh at together, walking through hard seasons together. That's how we get shaped. Months after we launched the church plant in Brazil, we started it. We had a small church at that point, very small church, and some of the key people in the church were this elderly couple, Terezinha and Gomez, grandparents, and they became a very important part of our church. Terezinha, little Teresa, and her husband Gomez. But she called me one day, Isla, and said, "Hey, will you go with me to the hospital to visit," wait for it, my ex, all right? Her ex-husband was in the hospital, and he was not doing well. It looked like he did not have much time left. She wanted me to go over there, pray with him and speak the gospel to him. She wanted him to hear about Jesus, about God's love. So I said, sure, I'll go. I don't remember a lot about it. I think we were there maybe 20, 30 minutes. I remember talking to this guy. I remember praying with this guy. But I also remember it wasn't, but maybe a month later, the phone rang again, and this time it was Terezinha telling me that he had passed away. He had passed away, and his funeral was going to happen at a chapel at this particular cemetery, which was about an hour from our house. Back then, didn't have GPS, so you had to get out the map book and try to figure out how to get over there. We made it, and I remember getting there, this giant cemetery, this chapel in the middle somewhere, and we walked in there, and it was crowded with mourners for this service, and there was the guy that I vaguely remembered meeting one time. He was there in the casket, there in the middle of the room. People were paying their last respects. And I figured we would, sit quietly. We would visit with Terezinha, and we would just be present. She had other ideas. I remember at one point, she got everybody's attention. And she said, in 5 minutes, Pastor Wesley will be officiating the funeral service. Now, I have some important information that will help you decode the story. 1, I am Wesley. I am Wesley. Gordon Wesley Dabbs. When you move to a country and your name means morbidly obese, you go with your middle name, all right? All right? So Gordon, I went with Wesley for 10 years. So Pastor Wesley here. The second thing you need to know about the story is I had never officiated a funeral in Brazil before. I had never been to a funeral in Brazil before. And if you've lived abroad, you know everywhere there are different funeral customs. Like one of the really different things in Brazil is usually within 24 to 48 hours of an individual dying, the funeral service is held. And I know that sounds crazy. Like, how do you get everybody together? Well, you may not be able to get everybody together, but that's what you do. 24 to 48 hours, there is a funeral. That would be the second thing. The third thing that seems relevant to the story is I didn't remember the guy's name. I'm just being honest with you guys today. I did not remember the deceased guy's name, so that was, to me, seemed like a bit of an issue. So what happened is, first off, I considered running for it. Like, Isla, I think we can get out of here if we leave right now. The second thing was I need to find a Bible. Somebody had a Bible that I could borrow. The third thing is I need to learn his name. And so very discreetly, that's João. So I got his name down. And then it was kind of a blur at that point. I remember something about Psalm 23, when in doubt, and there are people who are struggling or grieving, Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, is a pretty good place to start. So we did something there. We prayed together. I remember nobody threw anything at me. No one went running out. So I think we had a funeral, and I think people were comforted. So there we go. But I tell you, that wasn't just a panic for me. It was like layers of panic on top of each other. I felt very unqualified with my Portuguese and my knowledge of the culture. But I'll tell you what I walked away with was not really the lasting memory of the panic. It was about that relationship that I had with Terezinha and Gomez, because I realized on that day I was not just a gringo that stood up and preached on Sunday. I realized, wait, they consider me their people. I'm theirs. I'm her pastor. I am her preacher. And it was kind of a humbling and cool experience to realize, okay, we are now in it together. And that's why they called me, and that's why they trusted me, and that's why in a moment of grief they wanted us to be there. Relationships have a way of doing that. When you're going through something, you want your people close. Full circle, I was thinking this week, our son David now works for Delta Airlines in Rio at the airport, and his boss is their granddaughter, Monique, who actually helped him get the job and is now his supervisor. She is so cool, but we're so grateful for those full circles of life and how that relationship is still giving to our family. Over time, you know this, there are people that move from the edges, that move from the periphery further and further in, that become part of that core, part of that inner circle of your life. And before you know it, you are carrying each other's burdens. You are hearing each other's secrets. You are standing beside each other in these difficult moments. Sometimes you don't even realize it until somebody hands you a Bible and says you're up in 5 minutes. And I don't recommend that, by the way, but sometimes that happens in life. And that's how God designed for us to be. I mean, you can read in the earliest pages of Scripture, we were not intended to be alone. We were intended to be in community, in relationship with other people. So let's pause and let's put in a word about balance, a word about access when we consider the people who will be part of our inner circle. Here goes. You probably know this already. Not every relationship you have deserves to have the same access to you. I hope you know that. The Bible, by the way, it does not tell us to avoid people that we disagree with. Does not tell us to avoid people who are different from us. Jesus certainly did not. Jesus was eating with the sinners and tax collectors. Jesus was welcoming the people who others were scorning. Jesus was moving toward broken people, and he treated people with dignity and respect while others kept their distance from those people. Christians, that would be us, should love widely, all right? Christians should love widely, but loving everybody does not mean that you grant everybody the same access to you, the same influence over you. You can love somebody without handing them control over your decisions and over your life. You can be kind to somebody without inviting that person into the inner circle. Like, not everybody gets a key to your house, okay? Not everybody gets to know the alarm code, and not everyone should have equal access to you, to your decisions, and to the direction you're taking in life. And that matters. It matters in friendship. It matters in dating. It matters in marriage. It matters in your workplace. It matters online, okay? Some people seem to follow social media influencers more closely than they follow Jesus. And I would say for a Christian, that's a problem. So who has your ear? Whose approval are you after? Whose attitudes are slowly becoming your attitudes? Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 15 about the influence factor. He says, do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals. Basically warning us, you're going to become like those people around you. Now, why does he start out by saying, do not be deceived? Because we tend to think, not me. I am undeceivable. I can be around this group, I can be around these places and not be influenced at all. Paul says, do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good character, good morals. So Scripture is telling us that companionship very much shapes character. You don't have to hate people. You don't have to judge people. You don't have to abandon people. But you do not need to give people equal access to you. Love everyone always, but choose your closest companions carefully. All right? I think that would be the broad advice of Scripture, Old and New Testament. Love everybody broadly. Choose your closest companions carefully. When it comes to the selection process, hopefully this is not a surprise to you, but your friends should be able to tell you the truth. Your friends should speak honest and truthful words to you, even when it's a little awkward, even when it's a little bit difficult. I love the wisdom of this strange verse in Proverbs. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Profuse are the kisses of an enemy. We've heard the expression that we use, like kissing up to somebody. This comes from the Bible. It says you cannot trust that. An enemy may tell you exactly what you want to hear, but a friend is going to tell you what you need to hear. There's a big difference. And that is an odd verse, kind of a little bizarre until you've actually lived it, until you've experienced it, and you find out, yeah, your friend is going to tell you what you need to hear, even when it's a little uncomfortable, even when it wounds a little bit. Like, hey, man, you're making a mistake. Or you need to go over there and apologize to her right now. Or, man, this just isn't you. What's going on in your life? Friends should be able to say those words that may cut, but that can be trusted because they come from this place of love. Faithful correction is not cruelty. It is courage. Now, truth should be spoken with humility, tenderness, tact, and love. Like before correcting someone, ask, am I sharing this to build them up, to encourage them, or am I simply unloading on them? And will I stay with them on the other side of this conversation? Will I stay with them to work through the aftermath with them? Proverbs 27:9, the heartfelt counsel of a friend is as sweet as perfume and incense. That means this is valuable, it is costly, it is something to be treasured and guarded. A wise friend does not merely point out what is wrong. A wise friend will help you take the next step. So here's a hard but important question for each of us this morning. Who is that? Like for you, who has permission to wound you? Who has permission to correct you? To tell you that's not you? To ask you, why did you do that? Who has that permission to tell you that you are in the wrong? Who can say, I love you, but this is not wise. I don't know why you're doing this. And if the answer is no one, then you, my friend, are not wise. You are isolated. And isolated people have giant blind spots. They cannot see themselves. They cannot see their actions and their direction in objective ways. That's one of the reasons we need close, reliable friends in our lives. It is easy now to hear a sermon like this today, a message like this today, and go, friend selection process. Thank you, Gordon. I've added some new interview questions for my friend selection process. I will do a better job choosing my friends. And that's part of it. But Proverbs always wants us to kind of turn things around and look in the mirror and ask ourselves, like, am I being a good friend? Am I someone that can be trusted? And am I someone who speaks truth into my relationships? Am I the person that's being described by the Proverbs? I hope so. And are the people in my inner circle drawing closer to Jesus because of me, or are they growing like further away from Jesus because of me? Do I make it easy for people around me to speak truth to me, or do I make it hard for them to speak the truth to me? Can I celebrate somebody's success without feeling threatened by that? A good friend can celebrate someone else's success without feeling competitive or threatened by it. Do I keep confidences? And do I show up for them even when it's inconvenient? These are the questions I ask myself. Proverbs 17:17. A friend loves at all times, no matter what, and a brother is born for adversity. Anybody can be a friend when it's easy, when it's smooth sailing. True friends are there for stay in the hospital. They're there at that funeral service. True friends are there when the difficult breakup has happened. True friends are there when there's an awkward conversation that needs to be had. They are there for those long seasons when things are going wrong and there are no really evident quick fixes. A true friend stays there for that adversity. Look, I just don't want to find the right people. Obviously, I do want to find the right people to be part of my friend group. I don't just want to find the right people. I want to become the right person that the right people can trust. Does that make sense? I want to be that person for them. Now, you know this, I know this. Even our best human friendships are imperfect. No matter what selection process you use, the only people that you can have a relationship with are flawed to some extent or another, and so are you. People will let you down sometimes, and sometimes they are simply unable to give you what you need. We know this. But God reveals, Proverbs 18:24, that a man of many companions, and I read that and I immediately think of thousands or hundreds of Facebook friends or followers on Instagram. And I think, yeah, I got a multitude, but do you have a real friend? A man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Now, let me go on record here saying one of the most obvious things I'm going to say this morning. For us as disciples, the most obvious tangible example of this, it's Jesus, the closest friend. Jesus. He is there for us no matter what, sticks closer than a brother. He does not flatter us. He always tells us the truth. He does not abandon us when we fall. He restores us. He does not love us because we are useful to him. He loves us because he is love. He receives us, you may have heard this before, he receives us as we are, but he loves us too much to leave us there. When he is in your life, he will transform your life, your decisions, and your future. At the cross, Jesus did more than stand beside us in our moment of grief. Jesus took our place. Jesus entered our suffering. Jesus laid down his life for his friends. No greater love. And when my closest friend is Jesus, he changes the way I relate to everyone else in my life. He makes me a more gracious husband. He makes me a more patient father, a more dependable partner to the brothers and sisters in my church family. The closer that we walk with Jesus, the more we become the kind of people others can walk safely with. All right? So growing closer to Jesus will make you a better friend. It will make you a better partner. It will make you a better father, mother, brother, sister. So ask yourself this morning, who is shaping you? What kind of person are you, and are you becoming because of this set of relationships in the middle of your life? Who are they helping you to become? And remember those words, the first ones we read from Scripture this morning, from Proverbs 13. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise. So choose your company carefully. Love your people generously. And above all, walk with Jesus, the one who knows you completely and loves you faithfully, the one who has promised to be with you no matter what until the end.